It's difficult to go wrong when choosing between the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch Lite. You'll have plenty of fun with any Switch, whether you need some first-hand insight into the design of some of the world's most successful gaming titles, want to take some cues from Nintendo's friendly and intuitive design philosophy, or just need to unwind after work. Just keep in mind the distinctions between the two. More in-depth reviews of both consoles can be found in our Switch review and Switch Lite review, but they are essentially the same machine. The Lite has a similar game selection in a smaller, self-contained box, while the Switch has a larger built-in display and longer battery life, as well as more versatility thanks to its TV mode and interchangeable controllers. The Nintendo Switch OLED, meanwhile, improves on the basic Switch by increasing display size and quality while also increasing battery life. If you favor the design of the basic Switch but don't mind paying extra for these upgraded functions, that may be worth your consideration. However, in this article, we'll compare the original Nintendo Switch, released in 2017 and upgraded in 2019, and the Nintendo Switch Lite, released in 2019, evaluating all the important features to help you determine which one would best suit your work or play needs. While you're deciding which Switch is right for you, have a look at our list of the top Nintendo Switch games and Nintendo Switch accessories. In addition, the two variants have somewhat different color schemes. The base Switch has a black body and either gray or red and blue Joy-Con controllers. See today's best Nintendo Switch prices. The Switch Lite is available in a variety of colors, including turquoise, pink, yellow, and gray. Display differences between Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite. The screen has a different size as well. The 5.5-inch display on the Switch Lite is smaller than the 6.2-inch panel on the regular Switch. The two panels, however, use the same underlying LCD technology and have the same 1280 by 720 resolution. These are both touch screens as well, if you prefer to use them to traverse the menus. Battery life of the Nintendo Switch versus the Switch Lite. The battery life of the Switch and Switch Lite differs greatly, which is exacerbated further by the fact that the two variants of the basic Switch have varied battery life. The Switch Lite is the easiest to use. According to Nintendo's official estimations, it will last between 3 and 7 hours, depending on what you're doing. The initial Nintendo Switch, which was released in 2017, may last anywhere from 2.5 to 6.5 hours. The updated Switch, which has been available since 2019 and comes in a redesigned, all-red box, lasts 4.5 to 9 hours without charging. So, while the Lite model outperforms the original Switch, it falls short of the newer variant. Comparing the Nintendo Switch to the Nintendo Switch Lite in terms of docking and compatibility. Only the basic Switch functions in handheld mode or through a separate TV or display through the dock and an HDMI connection, out of the two consoles we're looking at. The Switch Lite is only available in handheld mode. The basic Switch dock not only acts as a charging stand for the Switch, but it also allows you to connect an additional USB device or charging cable that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. It's also here that you connect the HDMI wire from your chosen screen. The basic dock is included in the Switch's packaging. The new Switch OLED Dock, on the other hand, is available as a separate purchase. It works with the original Switch and performs all of the same functions, but it also has an Ethernet connector for a more stable internet connection. Controllers on the Nintendo Switch contrasted. The Nintendo Switch Lite. The Switch and Switch Lite both use the same basic controller layout, which includes 2 analog sticks, 4 D-pad buttons, 4 letter buttons, 4 shoulder buttons, a home button, a sharing button, and plus and minus buttons for various menu options. The only difference is that the original Switch has 4 separate buttons on the left controller for directional inputs, whereas the Switch Lite features an all-in-one D-pad. The key distinction is whether or not these controls are detachable. The controls on the original Switch are split between 2 replaceable Joy-Cons. When playing in handheld mode, these clip onto each side of the display, or they can be removed when the Switch is docked. For some titles, the 2 halves can also be utilized as 2 independent controllers, allowing for instant multiplayer capabilities right out of the box. To get different or extra inputs, you may always buy more pairs of Joy-Cons or third-party Bluetooth controllers. The Switch Lite's controllers cannot be removed. It's not possible because of the all-in-one design. However, as with the conventional Switch, there's nothing stopping you from picking up extra Joy-Cons or third-party controllers to increase the number of players you can have at once. Nintendo Switch versus Nintendo Switch Lite, what's the difference? Advertisement. The Nintendo Switch is available for $299, which is significantly cheaper than other current gaming consoles. You won't find this or the Switch Lite on cheap, but some sellers may throw in a game or two for free, so looking for the greatest Nintendo Switch offers is worthwhile. The Switch Lite is the more affordable option, costing $199. However, as we've seen, you lose a lot of functionality in exchange for the discount, even though you can still play all of the same games. Nintendo Switch versus Nintendo Switch Lite, which is better? Both of the Switch models were considering use the same game card physical media for games, but there's also 32 GB of onboard storage for downloading titles. Any Switch can play the same games, including Nintendo All-Star brands like Mario, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and more. However, if you're using a Switch Lite, there's one minor detail to keep in mind. Because it's a handheld-only system, the Switch Lite can't play titles that need the usage of TV mode, and tabletop mode requires separate controllers. Fortunately, games that only operate in these ways are uncommon, but it's worth double-checking the details on a game store page or the back of the box before you buy just in case. If you're looking for something to play, have a look at our list of the top Nintendo Switch games. Is the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Lite the better buy? It's likely that you already know which Switch will suit your needs best, as it all boils down to where you envision yourself playing games on it the most. If you want a handheld console that's easier to transport, the Switch Lite is probably the best option. That is, unless you are concerned about the Switch's shorter battery life or inability to connect to a TV at all, in which case you would be better off with the standard Switch. The standard Switch excels at being ready for any gaming environment, whether you're playing alone or with another person, at home or away. You can appreciate the games you're playing more thanks to the somewhat larger display. However, you will have to spend an additional $100 for the pleasure, so if money is tight, go with the Lite.